Call the meeting to order. We had our in camera. So, anybody have anything to add to the agenda? Hearing none, motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
I think it's been moved and seconded.
Thank you, Richard, we're good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary-minded? Carried. Any conflict of interest?
11D, I'm not sure, Nakile-Partial tax exemption, my wife works at Nakile. I don't know if that's a conflict, I just want to put it out there, I don't think it is, but.
I would say
You're
no.
not gaining.
I would say no.
You're not having a pecuniary interest
No.
No, no.
in a business that's contracting with the municipality. So,
Just want to make sure I cover my bases.
Yep.
in an abundance of caution, you can abstain if you wish.
Okay. So, we have a presentation, Recreation Strategic Plan, Natalie Dontimo, and Kristen Patchman. You're on.
I'm on, thank
You're
you.
on.
Thank you for the opportunity to actually come today and share some of the work that the Argyle Recreation Commission has done over the past year. We have been working hard on our strategic plan for the next 5 years. And why would we do something like that is we looked at the last 5 years and what we have accomplished and why a strategic plan was so important. So it makes us work a little wiser and gives us direction. And when we focused on the last 5 years of our strategic plan, like the last one we completed, we saw that we were celebrating some of the successes. And we know that we have improved our infrastructure immensely. We have increased participation in our programs, such as we now have a minor baseball program. We have an increased social media presence. We have supporting community infrastructure. We have family-focused events. We have increased our equipment loan projects and programs. And we've also added some inclusion programs, such as our sledge program, which has been very beneficial to our residents. And we have a better relationship with our regional partners, which allows us to do a lot better work that we couldn't do alone. So how did we come about with the document that you have in front of you? We first talked to the Argyle Recreation Commission members, and we gave them a little bit of homework. Why do we work? How do we work best? Why are we succeeding? What were the things? So we came up with some of the things that we thought were important. We defined recreation, and the National Framework for Recreation has a definition for recreation, which has been adopted by Nova Scotia, our province. So why wouldn't the municipality of Argyle adopt that same definition? We looked at the demographics. Who are we serving? What's the population of Argyle? And I'll go into a little bit more details into that. In 2014, we had a citizen survey done. And the results from the surveys that was done back in 2014 were really still relevant to us. So we thought some of the results were important to look at. We had an online survey, had 457 respondents, which is a great number. We also did focus groups. Jeanette and I went to the seniors and did focus groups with them so that we knew that maybe online wouldn't be so easy for them, so we reached out to their groups. We looked at the Nova Scotia strategy for advancing recreation and the framework in Canada on national recreation. And also recently, the Let's Get Moving strategy for Nova Scotia. So those are the things that how we came up and what we're doing. What I have in front of you is the screen is the key learnings from the citizen survey in December of 2014. I just want to touch quickly on those. Some of the things that they talked about, activity types. The number one activity, and you probably all know this, is walking, and that's nationwide. At a distant second is swimming, which is kind of I guess we're surrounded by ocean, but we don't have a swimming pool. So, but that is a distant second. Some of the challenges that we're having is having someone to go to the activity with. And the conditions and the maintenance of our trails, our sidewalks, our side of the roads, those are some of the challenges we have. Physical activity opportunities, they wanted to see more family-friendly spaces, more programs for children to participate near their parents during the activity, more common spaces to meet friends for activities, especially as females, non-competitive opportunities for females especially. Active transportation is something that we've talked about, and a quarter of the adults walk at least weekly. 2/3 would like to walk more often, and often the deterrent around that is, again, the sidewalks outside of the roads. And 2/5 would like to bicycle more often if they could, and we had safer places to bicycle. So if I look at the results of the survey and have one general statement, it would be improving accessibility of community-based physical activity opportunities by offering flexible, non-competitive, and low-cost activities may engage more community members. So that was what the survey told us. The results of the online survey and our focus groups, there was 5 questions, and one of them was the age category. So it kind of looked at the top 3 answers in each age categories, because it differs. So for our seniors, 55 plus, again, the bus trips, Christmas party, and our senior games. For 26 to 46, it was family events, our summer day camps, and maintenance of our fields. For the top 3 answers for the ages 12 to 32, again, our summer day camps, family events, and soccer and baseball. Common themes for improvement. So there was a question around if we could improve recreation, what would you do? So these are common themes that we had. A fitness center in Tusket was over and over again. What does that mean? We're not clearly sure what the fitness center is. Was it weights? Is it training? So on and so forth. More family events, better promotion, and we heard that over and over again. People want to know what we're doing. More youth activities, leadership development for coaches and volunteer organizations, and improve infrastructure for walking and biking. Again, this is the demographics that we're looking at. Who are we serving? If we look at the municipality of Argyle, the average age is 46. We have almost a split of females and males, so it's almost 50-50. So. And then we looked at the income, and we looked at other demographics. But if you just look at the income chart, we see that there's a large portion of our population that have family incomes of $10,000 to $19,000. So that gives us some direction as to how we should be marketing our activities. So after looking at all these resources and surveys, these are the goals that we came up with. Number 1 is promotion. So increasing the awareness of recreation opportunities, to use the right media to promote activities for different targeted groups, and to create partnerships with local media. And local media is here tonight, so that's nice. Goal number 2 is infrastructure, to improve on what we currently have, and to look at the needs, if there's needs for a new structure or infrastructure. Connecting people to nature, this is a big topic around recreation. We know that going out and the outdoors increases physical activity. There's many, many benefits, physical and mental, of being outdoors. So there's increasing the opportunities to connect with people in the outdoors. Inclusion and accessibility, and I know you've been talking a little bit about these. This is to decrease the barriers to participation in our recreation programs. And we are already starting to do some of that work in our municipality. And active transportation is to educate what is actually active transportation to the general public as well as yourself, to increase the awareness of the opportunities, and to improve the infrastructure around active transportation. These 5 goals are very, very similar in the Recreation for Canada, so on a national scale, as well as a provincial scale. We're kind of following what is set out. So municipality is just following, it just makes sense to us. The Department of Communities, Cultures, and Heritage asked us to have a separate strategy for physical activity. And obesity is on the rise. It's almost to the point of epidemic. We want to put some money and some effort, and the province is helping us along with that. So what they would like to do, for us to do, is to have a physical activity strategy. So what we've taken, we know that 82% of Canadian adults do not meet the guidelines for physical activity of 150 minutes per week. So that 82%. So that's a high, high percentage. And that's adults. Women and children, women and girls also have a very, very high rate of not meeting those needs or those goals. So we took some of the priorities from our Argyle Recreation Commission strategy, and that fell into the physical activity strategy and put them together. We have very similar goals, but with a more specific targeted approach. So number one is bringing people outside, which is connecting to nature. Number two is supporting the active transportation infrastructure, programs, plans. We have an active transportation plan, so it's just bringing that forward. Maintaining and improving infrastructure that supports physical activity. Goal number 4 is universal targeted approach for women through their lifespan. And what that means is that we are putting on programs, we're targeting women, but we're not actually saying that. So maybe our focus as far as promotion is more, we know that women between those ages are on Facebook, and that's the media we'll use. So that's what that means. And number 5 is building leadership capacity for girls. How are we going to go about doing this? And how are Jeanette and I and the Recreation Commission going to actually put this into action? So I've given you an example here, and this is on the promotion part. And the priority would be, the goal would be to create partnerships to increase Argyle Recreation's presence on social media. So the priorities are listed in the blue: increase the number of free radio ads as well as paid ads, create a social media team, engage a local newspaper, and so on and so forth. And the timelines are there, so it gives us how long, somewhat a targeted time to work on, as well as we have places where we can update as we go on, and who's the lead. Doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to be leading all of these things, Jeanette and I, but we will be asking people to help us out throughout these goals. Just to give you an example of an innovative thing that the municipality of Argyle has done in recent years is the East Pubnico Biking and Walking Park. And this, as you know, was an old ball field that we have redone into a biking and walking park, engaging the community, asking what they want. There was a need for walking safely and biking safely, and this project, actually, I have presented this provincially, so people are really looking at some of these innovative approaches. I just wanted to highlight that. And that is our newly renovated tennis courts. They're being used. We're seeing an increased participation in those facilities, so we're doing things right, and we're reaching some goals. And moving forward in the next 5 years, we hope to increase that. Any questions?
Okay, go ahead first.
Do you have a budget number of where you're looking at, or is that your next goal?
That would be my next goal, Councillor Surratt. What I have looked at some of these. Of course, some of the things that we have highlighted in here may happen if we have third-party funding, and may not happen if don't get that funding. So that's where that's at. For the most part, there's not a whole lot of budget items that are going to change. It's basically our general recreation budget, but some of the infrastructure obviously will
I was thinking
require
of
some.
grant money and stuff like that.
Exactly, yeah,
You've said
and
that.
we do that, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that, Mrs. Sir, or Mrs. Dion.
You don't have to be that formal.
Rails to trails, trails to rails, do you guys work closely with them or at all, or?
So, I'm involved at a regional level, on a trails committee that's looking at, it's the Great Canadian Trail, and we're trying to connect the Western Loop to the Great Canadian Trail, which is a trail that travels across Canada. But that's not addressing, Rails to Trails Group was the Yarmouth County Trails Association, Development Trails Association. We have they sit on those committees with us, so that's, the dialogue is there, but that's as far as that goes.
Okay. So I know a lot of people use them, like through the communities that they run through.
Absolutely. And the
You're
part,
doing a lot of work in back, you've done a lot of work in backyard.
they have, yes, they have. They do excellent work. They actually just received the Recreation Nova Scotia Award for the work that they have been doing for the last 20 years. Just on that side note, the Rails to Trails bed that's going through East Pubnico, that is deemed to be part of the Blue Route. So if you haven't heard of the Blue Route, it is a bicycle route that is going through Nova Scotia. So they have parts of it done, but a lot of it is not done. It's going to take 20 years, so it's not going to happen overnight. I probably will be retired by the time that, but, thanks.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, I'm always, I guess, interested in male, female, because I guess in my past, I was involved with After the Bell or the Girls
Yes,
Program,
yes.
which was a great program. It's still going on, I do
Yes.
believe.
Yes, it is.
And so I guess I have my children, female and male, both were, heavily involved in physical activity with different sports. So what are the challenges there I guess for females, obviously, because
There is a challenge for females, and it is a very difficult question to address, and it is a good question. We know that the numbers are lower. The challenge to get them there is it can be social. It is a lot of the times the girls don't feel confident in doing some physical activity. They may not have the dress wear for the activity, don't know what it involves, are not into sports maybe. There's many different challenges when it comes to females in sport and physical activity. As you know, I am a facilitator for the Canadian Association for the Advancement of Women in Sport.
Yeah.
And what that entails is I go and present on effective communication, networking, just to build the self-confidence and the self-esteem in women and girls to move forward.
Yeah, and I know in my involvement with the different activities, which included, all kinds of different activities, including, skeet shooting, where, as far as I'm concerned, the girls were excelling. It was, as far as I'm concerned, it was incredible to see little girls, 13, 14-year-old, picking up a gun for the first time and shooting clay pigeons like they were the champs, It was really, really good. It's a good program. I hope that we can continue, After the Bell, or I forget what it's called.
It is After the Bell.
After the
Jeanette is
Yeah.
leading that program at the moment, so
Yeah.
and we know that After the Bell is for girls in junior high
Yeah.
school. We know that statistics show that junior high school girls are less active and are less active after school time period. So that is between the time frame of 3 to 6 p.m.
Yeah.
We know that, so that research has shown that.
The bike park in East Pubnico, is that being used quite a bit, or do we know?
It is used. As a matter of fact, I just dropped off a key to one of the ladies in the community. Her husband had some cardiac problems, and he needs to walk in a safe environment. She wants to drive up close to the gate and come right in so that he wouldn't have to walk uphill. And also, we just ordered a new bench so that there's time that he can rest there. There are bike tracks around, so Councillor Book may be able to answer more so, but
Yeah, I know there's seniors that go there. Maybe, I don't think the children, the younger crowd, this probably doesn't go often enough, but I know there's some that go. I think it's being used a lot by the seniors.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think there's potential for more in that park. This is a starting point. I think in the middle of the track, there could be potential for other activities for younger children. So I think that's something that we'll be looking at.
Because that's my, you know, I mean, you can provide facilities and whatever.
Yes.
But then you've got to get the people to,
Yes.
interested in using them.
So what the Recreation Department has done is that we organize a special activity every summer to
Yes.
bring the people there so that it promotes the area as well.
Exactly.
So that's another issue that we're having, and promotion is a big part of it, so.
And that's good. Any more questions? Yes, go ahead.
Only thing I'd like to ask, we know the sidewalk in West Pubnico is used a lot, both day and night. Just wondering if some type of sidewalk lighting for people using it in the evening, or you see people walking quite late at night sometime, it would make it a much safer venue for people to use.
It probably would make it much safer, Councillor Digdon, but there's other means of making it safe as well. But if you're talking at an older population like myself, it's easy to slip and fall if there's not proper lighting, so, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Just one more question.
Sure.
I'm gonna shock you with this one.
Councillor Surratt?
Do you need more staff
Wow.
to do your program?
Wow. Absolutely, we could use more staff. There's no doubt about that. I mean, Jeanette and I, actually, when you look at our overtime and what we put in, mine was over 300 hours this year, and Jeanette as well. She's probably going on 4 right now.
I
So-
meant that question, yeah. Just wanted
As
to-
we do a lot of evening work, and, yeah, it is.
I'm not saying we can
And
afford it.
we're getting older.
I'm not saying we can afford it, but I just want to know, and that's what I figured. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more? If not, thank you very much for the presentation, very good presentation.
Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you for what you people are doing, because we see a lot of it and we hear about a lot of it, and it's great.
So Mr. Chair, Mr.
Yes.
Warden, so we've had a presentation of the strat plan. You don't have to make a motion on it now, but I think it would be appropriate, either later in this meeting or at another meeting, to eventually accept the
Okay.
strategic plan. Now, my suggestion would be that you require some financial information to support that. You know, you can endorse the strategic plan, you know, and look into what the financial ramifications of that would be. A lot of the recommendations that are coming from a recreation perspective are very cost friendly, you know, like going outside. Like a lot of the utilizing the infrastructure that we already have in our community. So I don't anticipate huge budgetary. However, what I do anticipate is a debate and conversation about where these recreation facilities ought to go. We've received information about Tuscan being appropriate for fitness center. We don't know what that means just yet. We have other fitness communities or opportunities to do things regionally. So we have to make some decisions around what that ultimately means to our residents. So I don't know that it's you don't have to endorse it, or you can accept it today as a report, but that the financial information come to you in the future, along with, now you have an opportunity to think about it, take a look at the strat plan, read it through, and then perhaps in January we can come back, make a decision to give that appropriate direction to the Recreation Commission and to myself as CAO to ensure that the staff of the Recreation Department executes the plan. Right?
Okay.
But right now, you don't have that full information yet, so you can accept the report now,
That's what I mean, we could accept the
accept
report.
it, and then have an actual approval in the new year.
Yes.
Where the the report came in on at least my iPad. I haven't had a chance to read everything. So I'd like to certainly, I have no problem to endorse it because just by what Natalie brought up here, I'd certainly like to read it over completely before the next meeting in January.
So if that's the will of council, I think today might be appropriate to accept the presentation and to ask, to instruct staff to come back with, a summary along with the costs associated
Exactly.
with that.
Okay.
Move we accept.
I will second that.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Contrary-minded? Carried.
Thank you.
So the next item we have,
Thank you, guys.
You.
regular council meeting minutes of November the 12th.
So moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary-minded? Carried. EMO meeting minutes, September 4th.
Slow move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary-minded? Carried. Business arising, vacation policy. Now, did we have we can accept this tonight,
Yes.
Yes,
because
So-
we've discussed it before, but there are changes.
changes there, I see.
Yes, so based on the conversation we had at the last meeting,
Yeah.
we approved the policy changes on the amount of weeks paid.
Yes,
There were some questions around, vacation during storm days and some,
Exactly.
what times that vacation can be, reversed in certain situations. So we have eliminated the storm day vacation trade-off, and we have added better language around bereavement leave because of illness or
Yes.
of immediate family. And that's not a cold, like that's a significant illness that would require some production of a medical proof of illness. The language is purposely not saying medical certificate or medical doctor's note, because that's quite frankly a waste of doctor's time. We don't need that, we just need an understanding that there was an actual condition and we trust our staff.
Exactly.
So we don't need to engage medical professionals for that. So just, and that's basically the extent of the changes. There is some language around seniority that we added to clarify how seniority works and when it works. You can't just play the seniority card every time. So those changes were based on your input, and so we appreciate that, and we present it to you for approval again, because we did approve it at the last
it
meeting.
was approved, so.
But these changes
now
were
the
not.
changes were not, so we have to approve the
Correct.
changes that have been added.
Yes, yes.
Also make a motion that we accept the changes made to the vacation policy.
I'll second that motion.
Second. Any discussion?
Question.
Questions? Question called for. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary-minded? Carried. Simply Cast, so I guess they're interested in coming to give us a presentation, and I think we've said that probably into the new year later on.
In
so-
March.
In March, so there's really nothing there except wait until they're ready to come and we're ready to accept them.
Correct.
Financial request, Communities in Bloom. Discussion on that one. We've seen, so you got a budget, these figures came from them. Who,
Yeah.
the people that had, well, they were budgeted, and then what they actually got, so.
Right, so it shows, a pretty significant difference between what they budgeted and what actually happened. Obviously, the budget made assumptions about how many people were going to register for the event. They were at least 50 short. They anticipated funding from the province and 10,000 from them. They did not receive anything, and they did receive 5 out of 10 from Municipality District of Yarmouth. Argyle has yet to make a decision. The budget was for 10,000. They budgeted a profit of 15,000. That did not occur. It was the other way around, 15,000 shortfall. So that doesn't include any amount that the municipality would be contributing.
No.
Very quickly, just, gave you some information on what the municipality has done in the past. around similar events. This event is about 250 delegates. That would be small in comparison to other larger events that we would have given between $7,500 and $10,000. So for instance, the Redwood Cup Junior A hockey tournament, those numbers would be closer to the 1,000 mark. Mixed curling as well was more than 250. The Finale des Jeux was like 2,500 people or something along those lines. So it just goes to show that we, whether we intentionally do it or not, we seem to fund the larger events in larger dollars. And so this one was a little smaller, which is why I recommended that it would be matching the municipality of the District of Yarmouth's amount of $5,000. Now, that being said, the committee was very diligent in engaging the region in terms of engaging some of our local restaurants, and so this was truly a regional thinking event. Yes, it was hosted in the town, but it is, it has benefited the region, and so if council so wishes, it can be more generous than the recommendation. And so I have 3 suggested motions based on where your mindset is.
I'd like to move that Argyle approve 5,000 contribution to the Communities in Bloom Organising Committee with the amount paid to the current year surplus funds.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, moved and seconded. Discussion. I have a question, like budget-wise, this will come out of our surplus, or?
Yes, we are anticipating a surplus in the year, and I'm recommending that if you make it,
Oh,
this is
okay.
outside of your budget.
It is.
We didn't budget this
No.
particular contribution,
This
so it
year.
would have to come from this current year surplus, which we are anticipating. We'll
Okay.
cover that.
Okay,
If I may interrupt, it's come to my attention from someone else that I may possibly have a conflict on this matter, so I'm just gonna abstain from voting.
okay. Mhm.
Potential,
Okay.
not sure.
Sorry, we're ready, yeah.
I'm just trying to think, I guess we did get a presentation on this matter, or this, but I guess we never, was it late? I'm just trying to think back of what, we got a presentation, it was late, maybe?
There was a correspondence that was received from the organization, and we had asked them to do an application through the grants process.
Right.
And
yeah.
they missed the deadline.
Okay,
Whether it was an error on our part or theirs, I can't confirm, but we did not receive, our records do not show that we received an application.
okay.
So they did apply for the September one, and it was a big ask compared to the September, and so the council at the time decided not to make it, decided to say 0 for that one for
Yeah,
now,
Right,
and
Bring it up here.
and bring it up again.
Yeah.
And we wanted to wait for the budget as well, because when we saw the budget, it looked like they probably wouldn't be going into a deficit, right? I mean,
It
if
looked
everything
good.
had gone
Looked good, yeah.
the way it should have, probably they wouldn't have, but they didn't get the participation that they had anticipated as well, so.
Right, nor the funding.
No, the funding,
It's a
so,
big thing.
So,
Yes.
so the town has basically contributed an extra 12,000.
You can see that, yeah.
exactly, yes. Okay, we're ready for the question,
Yeah,
all in
right.
favor?
Aye.
Contraminded, carried. The next one. East Pubnico Water Utility.
This is basically just informing
Okay, yeah.
council where we're at, very quickly. This was a late edition. The topic was there, but not the memo. So basically, the lower east, Pubnico water utility, there's been some considerable, work done on the well and the new pumps, et cetera. That has been a very positive result. So none of that money is municipal money. That's all paid for by the business owners that are charged a fee. And so we are now focusing on Middle East. One of the biggest issues that we've discussed many times is the tank itself, which is at end of life. However, in order to properly size the tank, we need more information. And the information can only be sought by doing the similar work on the wells that we did on Lower East. So Middle East will have the same or similar work done on their wells, new pump, new electrical systems, and there may in fact be an additional well added, depending on what the cost benefit is of trying to refurbish an old well versus drilling a new well. The water is there, the aquifer is active, and so that's a good sign. The other thing that we should be raising here, I realize it's a little operational, but it's good for information, is so we probably have some leaks in the piping system. We don't know where they are, so we're gonna video, as we do in the sewer pipes. We put a video, we could camera through it, we identify where the leaks could be. So we believe that there are. I mean, it's almost 50 years old, and it's asbestos lined piping, so it can be complicated to replace, and obviously precautions taken to do so properly. So it's understood that work has to happen first, and then we'll know exactly how much water is coming from the well and where it's going. No sense putting in a large size reservoir holding tank if in fact you don't require that size. So in order to size appropriately, we need to fix those two problems first. It's kind of a chicken-egg situation, but we may have to spend a little bit of money on the tank to keep it going until such time as we can replace it. The advantage of doing that, of course, is that it allows us more time to apply for funds federally and provincially to help us along. So that's the update on that project. We will be spending money, but the money that will be spent initially will be the money in reserve, and we will be aggressively pursuing additional funds for the tank replacement. That could happen in 2 years rather than immediate. We started our focus on the tank, but realized that was not going to be in the best interest of sea life fisheries, which was the primary user, and they told us that. So it's interesting information for us for sure. So we'll do those, and we'll do it aggressively, and then we'll go after the tank as quickly as we can. Obviously all this work will be done at a time that it's convenient for the seasons of our businesses.
Okay. Hipson Bridge.
Just a very quick update. I did attach the, so the reason why I'm giving these updates is that they were on our capital project, and they are not gonna go exactly the way that we said that they were gonna go from a capital perspective. Based on the Hipson Bridge, based on further analysis, it was determined that it's better to do the work required on the bridge all at once. We had initially proposed a phased approach, and that was not going to be in the best interest of the bridge. So we have to. So that's the work that we need to do. The work on the bridge is ready to go. It's tender ready. We have received documents that are tender ready. So when we're ready to go, we can go. The difficulty, of course, is that the budget for that bridge is a lot higher than we anticipated. So we will be presenting that information to you as council to let us know exactly how you want to proceed. The estimated cost of complete retrofit is about 300,000.
That's what I was looking at.
300.
We figured 150, if I remember.
We were
150 at first, was it?
we were closer to about 150. 50 was one of the phases.
Yes.
So it's quite a bit more than we
Yeah.
thought it would be. So we just have to, instead of spending 50 and saying, okay, now what? We decided it was better to take a more holistic approach to the project. Go back to our engineers and say, well, what part of this is absolutely necessary to do, and do what's necessary depending on what council's will is.
Is that gas tax
It is.
fundable?
Yes, because it's both a walking trail and a bridge. Both would be eligible for
Why
gas
don't we
tax.
do it all?
Would a co-op be
Do it?
It's
eligible for that?
it's possible because it's part of a trail system.
Yes.
ACOA has been known to do that kind of work. It's not impossible. I can certainly look into it. We haven't looked into that possibility yet.
Someone have a question?
I was just looking for funds, different places, heritage funds or anything like that.
That would be part of the planning process for council. So at this point, we were like, okay, well, it's within our budget parameters, when we initially looked at it, we said, okay, gas tax eligible, let's do it with gas tax, and we'll find other ways to fund other projects that are larger. But now it's coming to that point where, okay, well, we have to take a look at what other options are for financing. It's not a long process. I think the work could only be done in the spring of 2020 anyway, so we do have some time planning-wise before we get into that season. We do have some requests in for a COA on the East Pubnico tank, so there might be a situation where if we switch the priority, for instance, they might be amenable to that. They may actually be interested in this project. There are some potential heritage funds that I'd have to talk to Judy about that for sure.
Okay.
Both of those things will be pursued on your behalf.
Alain, would that have to be designated as a heritage property to get heritage funds, or do you know that?
I'm not sure.
I know a house, if it is designated, okay.
I can't answer that. It's possible that it's required, but I don't know that
Okay,
at this time.
thank you.
Any more? No more questions, so we're okay with that. Financial report. And it's attached. And that's to October 31st.
Yes.
So, do you want to go over it, or?
Just that we're still projecting the surplus. Right now, the surplus is projected at approximately 140,000 for operations. As it's not the quarterly statement, I'm not gonna go
No.
into a lot of detail. I will say that one of the things that occurred this month was a revenue for dangerous and unsightly recovery. So we recorded the revenue, but that does not assure its collection. So what happened was the unsightly costs were incurred in the prior year, and so in the current year, they are recorded as revenue. So again, it does not assure its collection, but they are recorded, and so that would have increased. Had we not recorded that, your surplus would be at 120.
Okay. So we don't need, we're not accepting this is just for information at this point.
You may accept at your leisure. I just don't go in as much
No,
detail
no, exactly.
as if it's quarterly. I mean,
But it
I would be
could be
prepared.
accepted as presented.
I would recommend that you accept as presented, even if I
Okay.
didn't go in all the details.
Exactly, that's right. We've had a chance to look at it, and unless there's questions, yes?
Alain, how's our collection of taxes? I know it's on an accrual base, I don't know if the word is accrual there, because you say it per budget, so you put it like we got it, but how's that working? Oh, just for info?
Sure. So it depends on what you're looking at. So
Residential.
our residential collection is about as expected
Okay.
from year to year. Our receivables are higher this year, but it's driven almost entirely by the water lending program.
Oh, I get you.
So that would have been a program comparing apples and apples. That program didn't exist, or existed in a lot smaller capacity a couple of years ago. So, the provincial government allowed us to do that, and we have even this year received additional requests for water loans.
You have?
Yeah. So they are showing as receivable, which will increase our total receivable, but that is a long-term
10 year?
receivable.
Is it 10-year, or they can go in what?
I believe it's 10 years, yeah.
Can be up to 10 years.
Yes, I think every one is 10 years.
Very
Yeah.
good.
I think they all went 10. Yeah.
That answers what I have, thank you.
Any other questions? And we have a motion to accept.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary-minded? Carried. Councillors' report. Who has a report? Who wants to start? You want to start?
Okay, thank you. Helped out with setting up the Christmas tree and the nativity scene in front of Église Saint-Pierre. Getting ready for a Christmas party at the Royal Canadian Legion that's co-sponsored by Jeanette, my wife, and myself in the Royal Canadian Legion. That's going to be held this Sunday from 2 until 4. And help plant tulips at the cenotaph in West Pubnico. We finally got them planted. Took us a while, but we did it. And also, I would like to send out a big thank you to our community development officer, Charlene LeBlanc, who helped the community organization in West Pubnico area receive a grant for over $22,000 for a wheelchair accessible washroom. Charlene done a lot of work on that as far as filling out the application and staying on top of it. And the organization was notified today that they'll be getting a check for $22,000. So I'd like to say thank you to Charlene for all that help. Thank you.
Yeah. I attended the Experience Argyle, which was very good. I went to the Yarmouth Industrial Commission. I went to the executive board meeting for Nakile, and I attended Nakile regular board meeting. I attended the Christmas tree lighting here for Argyle, and I attended the Christmas party that we had, which was very good.
So, as part of the Liaison Oversight Committee of the REN, I sit on the Recruitment and Nomination Committee, which will be meeting very soon, shortly, to try and come up with decent names for the REN board in the future. So that's something to bear in mind for the councillors if anything ever arises, to contact me directly. As far as locally, road issues still plague, I know, I'm sure you're all aware it's a provincial matter, however we get tackled about it all the time. So in my area, road issues are still a major problem that residents do contact me about, as well as dangerous and unsightly, I guess more the unsightly part of that policy. Still, although getting better, I think staff has been working on that, and we do have more of a vision there. Still, you know, a ways to go, be it someone from not mowing their lawn to a house or barn falling down. Things are still room for improvement in my communities. That's something I get contacted about a lot. So that's about it at the moment.
Okay, thank you.
Fresh off my mind, anyway.
Mr.
I attended the Yarmouth, like Kathy, the Yarmouth Industrial Commission meeting, and informative. Also attended the YMCA meeting. They're in quite a bit of trouble, finances, and you know, it's come to the point where they're going to have to make a decision to stay open or close, and it's coming very much in the near future. I would say in the next 3 or 4 months. They had the big guns down from Halifax and Toronto, and
That's
one of the guys that was there is one guy that does the closings. If you're going to close a place, that's what his big job is across Canada. He was there. I'm telling you, it's not good. It's not a good situation, but anyhow, you know, they're giving us a few months to try to get the units house in order to see what we're going to do. You know, they were telling us that if let's say a new place was built at the Mariner Center, that you could expect it to be triple what is needed at the place there now. Operational wise, could be triple. So it makes you wonder, a new place, and you have to have that. That's what it is. It was good to have that information. They didn't mess around. They told us like it was. I also attended the courthouse archives 30th anniversary. There was the same night as our Christmas dinner supper, and it was well attended. It was sold out, 75 people. It was sold out though, and you know, it was great. Audrey and Alexa did a great job. And also, I participated in there was an Xmas house tour down St. John, Island. Very well attended, and I also did a Facebook interview, which was interesting. That's it.
Yes.
Attended the regular committee meetings that I'm on, but the most productive meeting I attended was with the Deputy Minister of Infrastructure.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know the full, we used to call it Department of Highways, but
It's
TIR.
TIR,
yeah.
transfers.
Anyhow, it was a very open and frank discussion. seems to be a little bit of wiggle movement on some of the major 103 projects. Nothing can be announced or close to being announced, but at least people are looking at stuff. And a lot of good conversation, and everybody was wondering where geese are at.
I had a two-take and I got false teeth. Couldn't make it.
That's it.
Okay. Come to Don.
I also attended Experience Argyle, which was, you know, again, really well put together. It was a great evening. Even though I didn't make it to the YASTA meeting because of other commitments, YASTA is looking for a rep or a representative on the board from industry. So just so people out there know that we're looking for a representative industry side for Argyle for the YASTA board. So
Okay.
thank you.
All right, going back to that, what's our next step? I mean, I was asked by a member of, well, I think, one of the councillors from town,
Yeah.
asked me, and he gave me a name of someone to ask. And when I posted, then it came back that we can't just do it that way. What's our next step in order to get someone?
So we have a policy on that. I'm just pulling it up at this time. I think what we have to do, it's referring to citizen appointment to committees, commissions, and boards. And we shall advertise for the upcoming various vacancies on various boards and
Okay.
commissions. So all vacancies will be advertised in the local newspaper or locally widely distributed media and application forms. Generally what we do is put it in the Vanguard and we put it in our social media typically.
Okay. So
Sometimes-
actually, we don't call somebody.
Well, we can, but we have
just to let
to.
them know.
Yeah, so because this is particular to those in the industry,
Yes.
it's not inappropriate to reach out to anyone at this point and say, oh,
See,
look,
if
we're
they're
looking for a member.
interested,
Yeah,
just to see if they're interested. I believe this person is away now, or she was going to be away, and I don't know if they've already gone or not, so I can try and reach her if, well, I guess it was the wish of most councillors said go ahead until we found out that we just couldn't do that, and I didn't want to call. But I can reach out to this person and see, at least, she may not be interested. I don't know if she's told this councillor that she was, or if he's just assuming that she would be a good person there.
Right.
And I honestly believe that she probably would too, so.
okay. I don't think it's inappropriate to have a conversation. I think as long as the process itself is transparent.
And she would have to fill an application like anybody else.
Yes, there'd be no different. You know, of course, probably what we would do, because we have contact with all of our
Yes.
industry, those in tourism,
Exactly.
we'd likely send out an email saying, hey, look, this
We're
ad is
looking
going
for
out.
someone. Okay.
And they can distribute it amongst their networks,
that
just so
sounds good.
everybody gets the word. But there's nothing inappropriate.
No, okay, just at least, I mean, this person may say, no, I'm not interested
Sure.
in that, you know, regardless. Okay, thank you. My report is attached, if you have any questions on any of them. I was at the same meeting as well with the Deputy Minister of Transportation, and we had the Chief Engineer, and we had executive from different sections or parts of the department, and I think it was a good meeting. I really think we had a lot of information. Again, it's easy for them to say they're gonna do this and do that, but
Yeah.
gotta wait and see if it happens or not. Yeah. Okay, if there's no questions, staff report.
It was widely distributed. Are there any questions or concerns regarding the report, other than our Director of Public Works, who seems to have taken a Christmas approach to his his staff reports lately, he has the ghost of Christmas past, present, and future
Yes.
in his report.
Yeah, I saw that.
I like it because it keeps track.
Yes.
So,
Future.
so
Yeah,
you
This
can
is what we
keep,
did, this is what we're doing, and this
and this is what we're
plan on
thinking
doing.
of, yeah. So Ebenezer is
Pretty
all
good.
set.
Yeah.
So, yeah, his is long because he's got a lot of
Oh, yeah.
projects
Yes.
in that department, so.
Uh-huh.
I'm happy to answer any questions or any concerns regarding any sort of item in the report.
Well, the building, we just got we got pretty much a breakdown of that.
Yeah, so for the public, our plan is to go to tender in January. That plan is still in play.
Yes.
So we'll likely be distributing additional information because the design has changed, the look has changed, and so I think it would be appropriate for us to share that with our residents.
Exactly.
And why, why does it look different?
And are we still going to have public meetings once we have the actual design, or we're not going that route with this one?
That is part of our priority to go to the public via engagement.
Engagement.
I mean, we want to be careful how we go out. I mean, it's not for the public to say, we don't, you should do something different.
No.
I think it's more an information
Information
session
to
as
show
opposed
that-
to,
yes.
because we're down the road
Yes.
far along. We have obviously received a lot of input from the community as it has gone
Yes.
through, and one of the questions in particular, they said, like, if you're not meeting the budget, what things are most important? And one of them that came in resoundingly was the renewable energy piece. So that's the piece, one of the pieces that we kept.
Do your building committee, do you meet regularly with the building committee and all, on all these protest things? Because, so they're all in tune with your meetings, that know what's
We
going
haven't
on?
had,
Because I always depend on them bringing back stuff.
no,
to
we
us.
haven't had any meetings
Okay.
in a while.
They've been informed on the processes.
Okay, have been informed.
So when we
Yes.
receive, the
You send
draft
stuff,
plans, they
They
receive
get an
it.
email.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Just wondering.
And, so at this point, they're providing us input as we get the information.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Any other questions? Anybody have any questions? Well, hearing none, we'll continue. For decision, tax relief. It's a small one there. And it's just properties that are gonna be taken off of the roll, tax roll.
Yes,
Because
because errors,
Errors,
deactivation,
yeah, exactly.
they don't
General
exist.
housekeeping.
Yeah,
So it's
unfortunately, we have a
all
lot of
solid
these.
So I'll make a
Yes.
motion that we relieve the taxes of $328.44 on these two properties.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary-minded, carried. The next one. COCMA 2024, Board of Directors elections. So it looks like we were saying that we wanted someone from both areas, and it certainly looks like that's exactly what they're proposing here. So President is Alistair Surratt, Argyle, Vice President is Chris Frotton, Vice President Claire would be Natalie Robichaud, and Treasurer Nadine Comeau.
So this process was managed by the municipality of Clare,
Yes.
and they have passed the motion to accept
They
these.
have.
They have already,
And it's just ours.
and it's just ours to approve.
Approve.
Yeah. So there were other applicants, not a ton more, but this was the recommendation from the
Okay,
committee.
there was a committee that looked at these.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary-minded, carried.
It's a great start.
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
That's a great start.
That's a
Names,
great
yeah.
start. We
Good
we need
names.
that.
Yeah.
And then it's gonna be up to them to find different committees and whatever.
It
right?
will build from this,
It'll
yes.
build from that, exactly. Active Transportation Committee.
This is to accept the terms of reference for the committee. The committee was formed, and as it's a subcommittee of council, it really should receive the endorsement of council.
Okay.
So I'm recommending to accept the committee members for the AT committee as they are listed. Typically what happens is the counselor the motion is made at this group for a
Yes.
counselor to be on the board. Since the board has been, or sorry, the subcommittee has already really been created, we're okay with approving it at this point because they really haven't met significantly. So it's a little bit opposite, but
It's
we-
okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's inappropriate, and we have I think, a willing counselor. Okay, I saw your name there, I just
Yeah.
assumed that you were a willing participant.
I am.
But the motion should come from council to approve, and also to approve, and specifically to approve Councillor Digdon as
Right.
your representative.
Right.
Yes.
So that he can be protected.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Protection is always good. Thank
I
you.
make a motion to accept this committee.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded.
Question?
Question called. All in favor?
Aye.
Contraminded?
I shall also make a motion that we
Carried.
accept Councillor Lynn Digdon to this committee officially.
And I'll second it.
Okay. Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Contraminded? Carried.
Thank you.
Okay, partial tax relief for Nakile. We had a meeting of Nakile board meeting, and that came up then, and they
Question?
said, so we need a motion to approve. And what they want is 25, to have it capped at 25,000 per year, because since they've done their expansion, the Nova Scotia Health does not cover the extra tax that they have to pay, and we've been doing they've asked for this in the last few years, since the new addition, so. So they're looking to have it capped at $25,000 as per the current year. Do you need to,
So just some,
Yeah.
I think Councillor.
No, I was at McKeel on the board when this was first brought in.
Yes.
I forget what year is it, 2000? His meeting was earlier in 2015, but maybe that's when it was. But my question was, is it stayed at the same 25,000? It
Yes.
hasn't changed.
No, I would like to just point out that our interpretation of all nonprofit exemption requests is that they exclude fire rates like they are exclusive of fire rates. So everybody that has an exemption still pays the
Still
fire
pays the
rate
fire
because
rate.
that money goes directly to the fire department and not to
Right.
us. So my interpretation of the request would be their tax bill would be in or around $43,000 if we did nothing. So the exemption to bring them to 25, that's only for the property taxes, okay? So the reduction is about 18,000.
Right.
They still would pay a fire rate, and that rate is about 4,000 ish dollars. So in the end, they'll be paying close to 30,000 between the property tax reduced as
And
well as the fire rates.
so the cap does not include the fire?
That is our interpretation, yes. If you wish for the 25,000 to be an all-in,
How did
then
they pay in the past, can you find that out? Or did they just pay, I was kind of under the impression by what they were saying, that it was 25,000, but I don't know for sure.
Last year, they were invoiced and paid 30,000.
There you go, so they know.
That's right.
Yes, we're just capping the property
Property
Capping
taxes.
the property taxes at 25.
And that's
Now, I'm not sure what the rules are around what the province pays for fire rates. I don't know that.
Okay.
There's probably rules around that, and they're probably not covered, or
Okay.
perhaps they're covered to a certain extent.
Right.
Keeping in mind that they're in the Eelbrook district, and their rate has increased because of the.
Big time.
The
Yes.
thinking of the new,
Oh, yeah, it's
the
gonna
new
go quite a
proposed
bit
station,
this year.
so.
It's a huge bill.
So it is larger than it has been in the past, so
Yes.
it's council's discretion how deep you want to apply this, but I'm just trying to be very clear about how we interpret that request as staff.
Okay.
So that if you're okay with that, then that's the motion. If you're not okay with that, then you can make an alternative.
Well, if they were charged, if what they did in the last few years that we've been doing this, then they're aware of how it works.
Sure.
So I think perhaps we should
Absolutely.
probably stay
Stay
the way
the
we've
same,
done it
I would
in the
think.
past.
Exactly.
Sure, I mean, again, my consideration is that the taxes that are capped at 25 do not include area rates.
Area rates.
That's our interpretation.
Right. Well, any nonprofit who doesn't pay tax still pays the area rate.
That would be correct.
Was that right?
It's
Yeah,
just a
how'd that work?
significant
Yes.
amount for them.
They get-
Typically, it's,
Huge.
you know,
Exactly.
it's a larger, it's a much
larger
larger
than-
because of the
than-
size of the facility and the assessed value of the facility, so.
Well, this is entirely up to council on how they want to do this, but. So we need a motion, and we should have a
So
motion
how
on
much
how.
would it be more this year?
Well,
with the
what's the,
Area
we
rates
should
gone
be
up?
able to
What
to
did they pay
figure
last
that
year,
out,
what did they pay this
because,
year? Yeah.
Yeah,
because, well, it's gonna be, the rate has gone up from,
To 11%, doesn't it, Danny? 11.5, 11.
11.5, it didn't go up
It's
by 11.
12 and a,
No.
it's
12 and a half.
It's 12 and a half.
12.5.
12.5, yeah, 12.5 cents per hundred.
Can we make the motion to cap the taxes at 25,000 and have this discussion later when we have all the information, like,
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
but
what this.
we have to know what the cap means, though.
So they're assessed at 3.95, like it's the same, the assessment is the same as last year. And so at $1.09, they would have been taxed 43,000
Yes.
and $4,900 for fire. So
4,900.
that would have been their total.
That was last year, or this year?
This year.
It's the same, so this would be the current year. They're asking for next year because the exemption comes in
Oh,
for
that's
December.
right, that's right.
For next year.
Exactly.
They've already received the exemption.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So exemption free, they would have paid approximately 48, and they paid 22. Sorry, they paid, they were exempted almost 23,000 and paid,
30.
the math isn't correct.
29.
They would have paid approximately $30,000, the 25 plus the fire rate.
Okay, okay, yes. Well, like I said, it's up to council. We need a motion to accept. And do we need to specify exactly what we want at this point? Or just the same, we've always made the same motion saying that we cap at 25. I don't believe we've ever made a motion that indicated what it included or what it didn't include.
Right, so what I would recommend, there's really only two options for council this time. I do not recommend that you would exempt the fire rate, so
Right.
whatever additional exemption that you're gonna put on the table is gonna be at the municipal cost, not at the cost of the fire.
It is, for
Right,
sure,
so-
because they're gonna have to, the fire's gonna get their money. They have to, their tax, their rate.
Right, they're banking on that as
Exactly.
part of their budget for
Exactly.
the, for their
Oh,
project.
yes, for sure, and it's not fair to them, for us to say, no, you're not gonna get it on this amount, so.
That's right.
I'm like Richard, I think we should leave it at 25,000 like we've done it.
Yeah.
It's worked so far.
They've asked for their,
They've asked us
they've
to-
asked for the taxes to be,
25.
to be capped. They have, I don't, they've never asked for anything to
No.
do with the fire rate.
No,
That's
or
right.
never.
Sewer rate or water rate or whatever they might
Yeah.
end up having in the future.
I agree with you, let's stick to
I'm
what,
comfortable
Leave
with
it the way
status
it is,
quo.
yeah.
Sure.
leave it the way it is.
Okay, so we need
I
a,
made that motion.
And I'll second it.
it's moved and seconded, so any more discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Contraminded? Carried. License agreement for municipality of Argyle and Hubert Pache. I read that, and I'm not sure exactly where that is. Is that to get to the rail trail?
Yes,
Oh, to get to the rail trail. See, I saw that somebody made a road,
not that.
and I thought maybe that was part of what we were doing here, but I couldn't really see. Okay.
No, it's across the road from the school.
Yes.
It allows for both school and, well, it allows for the general public access from the school. All they have to do is really cross there.
Right.
So it's a much safer access to the rail trail.
Yes.
A lot of schools are asking for a safer route. I know that Drumlin asked for that as well, and part of the, if you recall, the military group that came in,
Oh, yeah.
if you recall, they had done some work to
Yeah.
allow
Was
that
that?
access to rails to trails as well. So it's not without precedent that these projects are being done. This would be a low-cost item. I'm not really concerned about
No.
the additional cost. That the safety is certainly improved and would allow access from Hubert's property, Hubert and Phyllis's property across from school to the rails to trails. There are some legal questions that we want to iron out, nothing too significant, but there are some minor changes to the agreement that we would probably bring back to the landowner. But just so that you're aware, the license agreement would allow us that access, and that access can be taken away at any time. It's not like a right of way. So it's a contract between ourselves
Yes.
and the landowner, as opposed to a deed
It's a
specific.
revocable permission.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I'll make the motion that the CAO can obtain legal advice and after that give authority to sign the agreement.
And I'll second that, 'cause that's
Okay.
exactly what I was
I
gonna say.
assume, yeah.
Yes.
And I should actually I'd just like to throw in there that I think it's really generous of the landowner to do something like that.
Exactly.
Clearly to benefit his community, I think that's
Mhm.
2 thumbs up for that, I guess.
Yeah, for safety, it's
Yeah.
great.
Councillor Surratt.
And I don't know if I've read that or not, the public can go through there too? It's
Yes.
probably this one, just want to be
Yeah,
So
the
I-
license agreement specifies that it's for the general public. I think it's focused on the school,
Cool, of course.
but it's general public.
Perfect.
And that'll give anybody who wants to walk, place to park, you know, like at the school, rather than
Correct.
Go back to the,
if they drive and want to walk there.
I think Councillor Dontramore.
Councillor Doctor.
Okay, so I'm just trying to visualize the Belleville School, I know where the rails trail is. So would you, is it on the same side of the road as the school?
The opposite side.
So
It's
you
not-
have,
oh,
you have
sorry.
to physically cross
You still have to
the
cross.
Anyway.
three or, what's the, I forget.
Belleville Road.
Belleville.
Belleville Road, yeah. And so you're crossing the Belleville Road and then taking
I thought it was the other
a
side.
path through to the rails. Okay,
Yes.
That's my understanding.
all right,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay, there's a motion.
Question?
Question called. All in favor?
Aye.
Contraminded? Carried. That's it for that item. Correspondence and for information. I'm gonna go through them, and if you have any questions as we go. Rural Internet, Western Group, INSI. A thank you letter from the Kemptville Bicentennial Society. That's just for a small grant that they received. Accessibility Act. When is that coming? That's coming in 2030.
2030.
2030, yeah.
Yes, but the municipality has to put a plan in prior to that. It
Prior
would
to
be-
that,
To build a building.
It's April 2021.
yes.
April 2021 is when we have to have a plan in place.
Exactly.
Now, the good news is, we don't have a ton of infrastructure, so it shouldn't take us
No.
as long as perhaps others, but we do have that responsibility. There's a couple other items that may come to your attention either through NSFM or other means, and it has to do with restaurants. Restaurants are being targeted. I don't mean the word negatively. They're being asked to aggressively bring the restaurants accessible to those that, you know, require it. As you may know, the Accessibility Act has been born out of the Human Rights Commission. The Human Rights Commission said that it is a basic human right to be able to access properties of this nature, regardless of your physical or any form of disability. So it is putting a lot of financial pressure, particularly on restaurants. HRM is likely to see a lot of pushback because of the heritage buildings that are in downtown core that have the restaurants in it. And so you have the rules around heritage, you can't change this, but then you have to change it. So there's gonna be some interesting dialogue, I think. So the AMA and NSFM are gonna wanna be in the room to try to either slow it down or to, not to say that they're supporting that it is a human right, they're not disagreeing, it's just how fast you get there and how do you get there and what is considered an acceptable change to the built environment. So,
We should have our building,
by 2030, yeah, I hope.
Yeah. And it should be accessible.
Well, we laugh about that, but the rules change and they're changing very quickly, and so it's not just about, you know, widening doors, and it's about making it respectful and convenient. You know, there are things that we don't think about, you know, and so unless you are in the situation where you're in a wheelchair or other modes of disability, so I'm basically sending emails to our architect saying, you know, yes, I know it is accessible, but do you know this? Because it's really ramping up to, no pun intended, it's really bringing to the attention all of the accessibility issues that happen in brand new buildings. And so obviously it's better to measure twice and cut once, right?
yes.
So we're
Got it.
really focused on trying to avoid any unnecessary costs later on, because it's always more expensive.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
the only thing I would say there, as far as the Accessibility Act and Accessibility Nova Scotia, there is a lot of good programs and funds out there that may be attainable by organizations or businesses, and that, and I feel as though we have a great asset here with Charlene, our Community Development Officer, and that can help some of these businesses or organizations apply for these monies. And I will say, the municipal government is really behind this and helping out different organizations and businesses that I know of with funds for this, so it's worth a try. Yeah, by all means.
The community development officer has been specifically tasked with identifying both renewable energy and accessibility grants that could help our businesses. And she is all over it.
She's
so
on top of it, I tell you.
So her and her predecessor have been very good at helping particularly nonprofit organizations. It started with senior, $25,000 grants for senior clubs, and now it's come to another level around accessibility. Seniors applications are still coming in.
Yeah.
And our current CDO is also assisting profit-oriented businesses in the fishing industry and applying for very specific funds under the AFT, Atlantic Fisheries something, that have to do with innovation in fishing. So there's a lot of businesses that have benefited from the work that was done in that department.
Good.
Okay. There's a thank you letter from the West Side Improvement Society. Municipal Affairs and Housing, ad for board member for Western Region Housing Authority. Yarmouth County landfill income statement. Western Counties Regional Library Board meetings, minutes, and then Yarmouth and Area Chamber of Commerce letter of support.
So do they want us to give them a letter of support, or?
No, I think, let me see, I'm reading it here.
I'm trying to read between the lines here.
Yeah, I read it, like you, I wasn't sure.
They're not
Okay,
directly
okay.
asking us, but
Yeah,
No.
but
they're
they're kind
asking
of
us.
hinting,
This will
yeah.
not be an easy task, I believe. So, yes, you're right, that's probably what they're asking here. Because it went, the letter went to the warden of the municipality of Yarmouth with copying myself and Pam, Zach, and Chris Notchamo. So, I think all levels of government, well, I say all levels, I know that provincial is definitely getting involved in this for sure, so we just don't know where it's going, but at least they're
I'd
involved.
like to ask the CAO if he knows, is there a firm date, or they said that midsummer? Is that what you understood, or do you know any more information
I
on that?
didn't see a firm date. I know that they're gonna transition the closure over time, and I know that there may be some positions that remain, but not in that particular facility. And I think there has been work done to approach other call center companies. I can say that there are more than one, and that the talks are positive, but nothing confirmed.
Exactly.
Have we, Danny, if I could, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Have we, the building that was built, it was before I came in here, so they were paying us rent to each unit?
Yes,
So has that building been paid?
yes,
Oh, it has been paid?
yes.
Actually, it has been paid.
Yes, it was back in the SWASDA era. And so in order to, basically it was a grant that was produced by the municipalities of Yarmouth, Argyle, and the town.
Okay,
And as the rents were collected by, at the time, Register,
right,
the grant was, for the capital component, was repaid.
okay.
And so we were paid in full for our portion of that, to the best of my recollection.
Do we own any part of that building now?
We do not.
Because we paid for it.
It's owned entirely, it was owned by SWASDA, the Industrial Commission.
Yes.
And SWASDA administered it, but the municipality of Yarmouth, in its agreement was slightly different than the municipality in towns, and it allowed them to take ownership of the building at any time,
It is what it is.
and they did, and so they do.
Yeah. No, that's okay.
And that applied for the former CSC building that's currently there as well.
Could you, I don't want to drag the meeting on, but what was CSC? What was that?
It was basically almost a subsidiary or side work of Register.com. They did very specific work, corporate work. I can't describe exactly, but it was, it's a very specific call center. And so it actually still exists, and they still have people working in the community, just not at that location.
Oh, I get you.
I'm not 100% sure, but I believe they may be located in the downtown core. But it's a lot smaller group.
And that's still going?
And that could be inaccurate, I'm
No,
going
no.
by old memory there.
That's good, thank you. That was it. Thank you.
So, I'm not sure that they're asking for a letter right now. It says here, we look
Yeah.
forward to discussing this with you at your
I know.
convenience. So, I don't know if they want to come make presentations to, I think at this point, it's just a matter of waiting what's happening and what, before, they don't know enough about it at this point. Who do we send the letter recommendation to? To the chamber, or if we did?
Well, the letter is to Warden Anthony because it's in the district of Yarmouth.
Yes.
It depends on how deep you want to be involved as council.
That's it.
The council, if it chooses, can contact the Chamber of Commerce directly, or probably more appropriately, contact Warden Anthony and say, look, if you want to be involved and try to understand the ins and outs of what's going on, and you can certainly do that either via response to all the parties or, I mean, the leadership that you wish to choose on this, announcement isn't entirely up to
Right.
council.
No,
It's not owned entirely by the District of Yarmouth, it's a regional issue. So if you wish to engage directly, that would be up to you as council.
The rumors are out there that probably the grants that the government gives have dried up in their package, but it's only rumors out there. You hear all kinds of stuff. Just a comment.
so what do we do with this at this point?
I
What's-
don't think we're the lead on this, so
No,
I guess we
exactly.
wait till our
Wait until,
partners or, you know,
Yes.
reach out or
That's right.
whatever, and then act accordingly or decide what we wanna do, so.
Exactly, receive and ask from them
Yeah,
first,
that's
as to
right.
what they may want us to do, and
Yeah.
go from there.
Yeah, I guess I was trying to read between
Well,
the
that's
lines, but
it.
it really
It-
wasn't
Yeah,
what I was looking for, so.
okay,
Well, sorry, like when the ferry went, you know, and I think what the Chamber of Commerce is saying here is, look, the ferry, when the ferry went away, it was actually a business-led committee that did a lot of the work to restore the ferry. I think that's, they're offering to be
Yeah,
that helping hand,
exactly.
is really what they're saying.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, right people to do it.
Absolutely. Right.
we have a financial request from Jed Lacadie Regional. So they're asking for, where are we here? 20.
So,
No, not us. They're telling us there's money in the bank.
I'm looking to see, I thought I'd seen where they were, what they were asking for, but,
they're asking for 10.
For 10.
Well, they are.
5,000 over 2 years, so 5 and 5.
okay.
And,
You're right, Danny, I
Huh?
missed that.
and it's not, I think
No.
it's something that I missed. It may have been something that I had sent via email, but it is not
That
actually
could be,
attached.
because I don't see it here, it seems
No,
to me
I
I had
didn't see
seen
that.
at some
Raises our
point.
surplus in the
Yeah.
account.
So this is a copy of the minutes for the
Okay.
Jed Lacadie.
Didn't know what
So,
it meant,
so
yeah.
what happens is,
They do, you know.
at the time the Acadian Games finished, it had a surplus.
Yeah,
And 41,489 of that surplus was transferred to the municipality. Half of which was to be allocated for the track and field, so that's earmarked for that. The other half is earmarked for one of three things, and one of which you're being asked to consider at this time, which is that the local committee is hosting the regional Acadian Games. That's not the finale, that's the regional, which is fairly large. It's not as big, but
No.
it's gotten pretty big.
Yeah.
So their budget is, you know, $60,000 or $70,000. So, I've given this to you for information. What I intend to do, with your permission, is to go back to the committee and recommend that they put a special request in.
yes.
They've only sent an email saying we're interested.
Yeah.
And with your permission, I would offer that the funds would come from this reserve,
Yeah.
which would fall outside of any grants to organizations
Oh, I get
request.
you, I get you.
So with your permission, I would proceed and tell the committee that the
Okay.
10,000 would be approved in the way that they asked and it would come from here.
I'll make a motion that you can certainly do that.
Second, makes perfect
Seconded.
sense.
Any discussion?
Question?
Question called, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary-minded, carried. Agenda topics for next meeting or notice of motion by councillors.
I want to raise that we did talk about updating, we did give a brief update on some of the capital projects that are happening, most of which happening in East Pubnico, which is why I'm looking at you. But I think what we need to do is, in the coming January, is to take a look at where we are with all projects and take a look at, okay, are we, where are our priorities? We have new information, let's take a look at this, not to take things off or put things on, more to give us direction as to what order, do we have the order right? And whether there are any adjustments or alterations that you want as a committee, as a council. Every year we pass a 5-year capital investment plan, but we do that with the information we have at the time. So we wanna come back and say, okay, now that we have new information, and I will use the Hipson Bridge as an example. The Hipson Bridge had a budget of X, now it's XY. What do we do, how do we deal with that project now, right? So do we get it done and find the money and do our best, or whatever? So it's just to align those projects. So what happens is if the decision of council is to press on, which is what I'm hearing, which is, I'm not trying to suggest any other course of action, is, okay, what impact does that have on other projects? Right, and so that's the piece that I wanna, because you have already established this as a priority, so I'm not trying to change the priority, I'm just trying to trying to inform council, okay, this is the impact of doing it this way, it'll delay that one potentially.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, this project, if we don't get something done on the Hipson Bridge, it's only gonna cost more every year. That figure's gonna go up, which is gonna impact other figures on other projects.
Agreed.
So it's just gonna keep getting bigger.
Agreed, it's not gonna go down, and there may be alterations to the project that we say, you know, for, I don't know, I'm just throwing a number up for 225,000, we get what we need to get done, and that will be good, and so that information, if we have it, we will present as well. So, like I said, I just wanna be very clear about that, is we're not trying to change the priorities of council, we're trying to just realign based on fiscal realities. That's the objective of the, and that will probably be at the committee of whole in January.
Okay, question period, anybody, did anything come online? No?
Just some positivity around recreation, 50% of which came from a relative of the presenter.
Oh, there you go.
No, it was really good comments.
Yeah.
Not from the family, from other people.
Oh, I thought it was
Okay.
It was
the
really good.
family.
It's really good.
Yes,
Well, that's good, they're watching.
That's right,
Yeah.
exactly.
so we're gonna go in camera, but before we go, I just want to, for the public that are watching, to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody out there, and to you, everybody here. Joyeux Noël et bonne fête à tous. Merci.
Move your turn.
Yeah.